Hello, welcome everybody. We'd like to thank your participation and express our joy for such a special moment of studying, sharing experiences, and learning about Spiritist education. This event has been organized by the Children, Youth, and Family area of the International Spiritist Council, aiming to strengthen the union and unification of the Spiritist movement for the sake of heart's regeneration and the construction of a new world. The ISC Children, Youth, and Family area, affectionately called CYFA-ISC, is responsible for promoting the study, practice, and dissemination of Spiritism among children, youth, and families. The CYFA-ISC Commission is currently composed of 13 countries that are working together in an integrated, collaborative, and collective manner in order to put together actions that we hope will strengthen this blessed and relevant task. In order to achieve our goals, it's essential for us to keeping ourselves updated for this task. The Seeds of the Future project is one of the CYFA-ISC actions, which purpose is continuing education for Spiritist educators through video lives and workshops. We believe this is a strategic and relevant project for the increasing of quality of our actions among children, youth, and families, whether physically at Spiritist institutions or virtually due to the pandemic situation we are facing these days. This is the 8th YouTube Live we are promoting, reducing boundaries and gathering dedicated hearts spread across the world, strengthening us in a common ideal.
This life, as our friend said before, this is the 8th virtual meeting of a program to address different and relevant topics to straighten this task continuously. Today's topic is the organization of time, space, and interaction in the Spiritist educational practice. Each life will be developed in 3 different languages: English, Spanish, and Portuguese in sequences. On the same day, we have invited some dedicated colleagues who will share their reflections and experiences according to the different topics. Furthermore, to open our meeting, we would like to invite you to pray along with us, raising our thoughts to God, Jesus, and the spiritual benefactors who coordinate and inspire the Era of Sowing Love project. So I would invite all of us to close our eyes, to think about God and Jesus, and say, thank you. Thank you for this opportunity to learn, to share knowledge and a common time with friends who share an ideal to grow, to learn, and develop love and education around us. May this time be beneficial for us. May we all be able to absorb the knowledge, to connect with high vibrations. May we all be blessed today. Amen. So I would like to introduce Joyce, who's gonna give us the talk. So she was born and raised in a Catholic family, daughter of Elion and Zulei de Souza. Started to study and learn about Spiritism after finishing medical school. Since then, she became an active work of Mount Vernon Spiritist Center in New York in 2010, moved back to Canada, and started to work at Toronto Spiritist Society in 2011, where she's an an active volunteer worker since then. With special interest in Spiritist education for children, Joyce is also a medical doctor and anesthesiologist in Canada, and more importantly, a busy mother of 3 beautiful kids, Daniel, Julia, and Isabella. Thank you.
I think it's muted. Hi. Thank you, everyone, for the opportunity of being here. It's a pleasure to being able to help a little bit with this beautiful project. And so today we're going to talk about some kind of technical aspects that are also important in this process of providing a good and effective and successful Spiritist education to our children. So the things that I'm going to talk here is mainly all present in a book with some orientations from the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. That material can give us some ideas on how to start for those who are listening that is just starting in a Spiritist house and want to start Spiritist education for the children. So though the Brazilian Spiritist Federation has many resources and material to guide us through this process. And of course, I'm very humbled to say that I'm not expert in this topic at all, but I have a passion and an interest to learn more and more. So I'm happy to be here to share my small, short kind of experience in this. But I hope that at the end we can all grow and kind of evolve a little bit more in this topic and be able to work better and provide a better environment and education to our children. So as was said before, I'm going to talk about the organization of time, space, and interaction in the Spiritist educational practice. So we are all invited, like not only the specific people that decided to work as an educator in the Spiritist education, in a Spiritist house, not only like those that decided to be the teachers, like to provide the activities for the kids, not only them are the ones responsible to the education of our kids. Actually, all of us, every single human being has this mission in life to help our kids to evolve and to progress. We are all responsible for them. And when we say educating our kids, we are not talking about the intellectual aspect, right? And Spiritism tells us and teaches us very well about that we cannot grow only with one wing. We are like birds that needs the two wings, and one wing is the intellectual education, and the other wing is the moral. And that moral aspects, it's only learned by evolving spiritually, by evolving your feelings, your sentiments, and your moral concepts, right? And that's the main purpose of life. We usually tend to give too much importance only to the intellectual wing, and then that's why we see so many smart, brilliant minds, scientists, and like brilliant minds in all fields in life, but unfortunately they lack a lot of moral content by being so selfish sometimes, or not really thinking as an important piece in the whole collective world, right? And so that's why Spiritism is here as well, to teach us that we need to pay attention in both sides in order to evolve as a human being, right? And Emmanuel, in a book that, if like in a free translation to English, would be "Sowing is Trusting in the Harvest," Emmanuel said, "The soil always bears fruit when helped by the cultivator. So use the plow gifted by God, doing your job with firmness and hope, in the certainty that the plentiful harvest will crown your efforts more and more. You just need to remain faithful in the sure purpose of the work program that the Father has reserved for you, being an instrument of light in the search of the unutterable joy. So we need to see ourselves as this instrument of God, and we need to persevere in this job of education. There will be lots of challenges on the way. It's not easy, and also will never be easy, because in this process of being an educator, we also educate ourselves a lot. Because although we are grown up in this life, we are still a child of God, right? If we look into the whole journey of life as an eternal being, as an eternal spirit, as we know we all are, we understand that we are still a child of God, that we're still evolving. So by knowing that, we need to put ourselves also in a humble position when we decide to teach and to educate our kids. We need to be kind to ourselves as well, know that we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to persevere, trying our best to follow the Jesus teaching, also not only to teach our kids, but also to teach ourselves, to educate ourselves. We are all growing up in this process, okay? And just remember those words from Emmanuel, that we will harvest what we sow, right? So the soul is very, very important in this process. We all get seeds, like the kids. The kids are like small seeds that are given to us, and it's our responsibility the way we're gonna sow those seeds. And we can never, like my mother used to tell me that we can never harvest apples if we sow oranges, right? So we're gonna harvest what we sow. So on that way, there will never be victims in this process. There will never be unfairness in this process. We all know that God is all justice and love. So God will always be just with us. So everything that we are facing at this moment is just a consequence of what we stewed in the past. So remember that for future, we are having a chance to be in the soul again, to cultivate this seed again, our own seeds as well as all the seeds, all the kids that God give to us in this life. And when I say that, it's not only the kids that come to the Spiritist Center, but the kids from your family, from your working environment, from your community. Those are all seeds that it's just in front of you waiting to be cultivated. And once we understand our responsibility in this process, it really helps us to work better, and knowing that although we might face a challenge now, but we can really, by our own work and dedication and the perseverance, we can change the future, our own future, as well as the future of all those children, right? So in order to harvest good fruits, beautiful fruits, it's very important to do it properly, cultivate it with love. So the quality of the harvest depends on the sowing quality. And how, if we look into the Spiritist Center in our work as a Spiritist educator, how we change that, how we can get a better harvest at the end, how we can improve the quality of the harvest. There are a few things that, specifically, I'm going to go through 4 topics, and I hope that at the end we can, I can give you guys some light in how to make this process better and more productive in your Spiritist house as well. So the sewing quality depends on the quality of content, the quality of interpersonal relationships, and the family environment that you create in the Spiritist house. It depends on the quality of teaching, the methodology used, and also it depends on the quality of the organization, of the use of the resources and the infrastructure that you have in the Spiritist house. So we go one by one on those topics to better understand. Our main objective in the Spiritist education is to bring the Spiritist message and principle to the children and the youth. So this should be always in our mind, that our idea is not to imprint on those kids our own idea or concept. In the Spiritist education, our goal and our main objective is to bring the Spiritist message and principles to their lives. Many of those kids may never had a chance to learn about Spiritists before, or maybe they did in previous lives, but now they are having another chance. And we all know that as a child, they are so open to learn and they are more flexible to evolve. So it's a precious time that we have to bring those important principles and concepts to them, right? So, and when I say the Spiritist message, again, this needs to be based on the books from Kardec, right? And we're gonna go over that once we talk more about the content. So it really needs to be what is brought by the 5 books from Kardec, based on those on those principles, and not what I Joyce personally think or believe, but this should be what is in the Spiritist codification and doctrine. And also, our objective is to promote the pillars of Spiritist education, which are faith with reason. So once we understand and we have the knowledge, that solidify our faith, that makes our faith a lot more, not only a lot stronger, but more concrete, right? When I can put reason in my faith, that will never fade in any circumstance. Because when I understand the meaning of life, the God, and how science and faith can get together, I like nothing, no matter which time of the history we are, my faith will always be true. So that's why it's so important, the faith with reason, and Spiritism emphasize that a lot, right? Also, the other pillar of Spiritist education is the experience of love. We need to find love in every action, in everything we do. No matter if it's in your work, in your family, no matter where you are, you need to experience love and live by love in any circumstance. So faith with reason, experience of love, and action in the good. Always try to anything you do with a good feeling and a good purpose. So that's what we try to promote by our activities in the Spiritist education. We try to promote those ideas and those principles to our children, to make them understand that we are here with this purpose, to understand and have faith with reason, experience of love, and action in the good. So coming back to those are 4 topics about the sewing quality. The first one is the doctrinal quality, the content. And I'm sure you are all familiar with this passage from the gospel when Jesus said, "Let the children come to me and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of God. Truly, I say to you, whoever does not receive the kingdom of God like a child shall not enter it." This specific passage that I read here is from Luke, but you can find that in all Gospels. And basically, it's that part where Jesus welcomed all children and asked the disciples to let all children come to him, because he always knew how important it is to start the education since the very early stage of life. We need to see that kid as a sponge that is just there, open to learn. And we cannot lose that opportunity and wait until they are grown up in order to teach them those basic principles. Also, in the Gospel of John, in the book of John, Jesus also said a sentence that is very well known by all of us. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. So this, again, Jesus is teaching us that the only way to achieve the evolution and the salvation is by understanding the principles that he was teaching at that moment. The only way for us to evolve is by living the life of Jesus. So in those two passages, I'm trying to show you how important it is to start in the very early stage to present and bring Jesus to our kids' life. And that's exactly what we do in the Spiritist education. It's a time to present Jesus to the kids and to show in their own language, in the way that they can understand, and that will depend on the age of the child, all the principles of love, care, love one another, all the principles of Christianity was taught by Jesus, right? And this brings a lot of responsibility to us, because again, as I mentioned before, it's not about what I think and what I believe. It's about what Jesus taught us, and that was completed and actually simplified in some way, in a way that we all could understand, by Kardec through the Gospel according to Spiritism. So it's a wonderful job that Kardec did to bring the Jesus teaching even closer to us in a way that we could all understand. And so we need to remember that who will be our guide through this process will be Jesus and Kardec. And everything we teach to the kids, in every single activity we do in the Spiritist Center, it needs to be guided by what Jesus and Kardec said. So we need to have that in mind to avoid mistakes, to avoid confusion, and to avoid misunderstanding, right? And don't take me wrong in a way that I'm not here to disrespect and say that other religions are wrong, that Spiritism is the only right way to go. No, not at that at all. My idea that I want to emphasize here is that if you are in a Spiritist house and our objective is to teach our kids about Spiritism, we need to teach them correctly, and we need to understand our responsibility in that process, right? So all the things that we teach and all the principles that we want to offer them needs to be based on what Kardec mentioned in his books, and all that come from the Jesus teachings. So Jesus and Kardec will be our guide in this process. We will ensure the doctrinal quality in conducting the education process of the children. Okay, so we need to remember that. And any question we have or any doubt we have, we go back to the books and we see how to clarify that. And of course, the content will be the same, no matter which age we are teaching, from babies to teenagers. the content is the same. What we will change in this process is just the way we present the content. Because of course, depends on the children age, we will change the language, the presentation according to their ability to understand and to absorb the message, right? The younger they are, they need more play, more, the teaching needs to be based more in music, in other type of activities, in creating a more ludic environment. As they grow up, we can make those discussions in a more mature way according to their development. But still, the basic of the content will be the same. We don't change the content based on the kid's age, but actually we only change the way we express and the way we present to them. Okay, so it's very important to understand our responsibility and our commitment to this process, knowing that we, as a Spiritist educator, we are not in that mission by chance. If I was chosen, or if I chose to be a Spiritist educator, probably either I made some mistakes in the past and I'm now having a chance to correct them, or I have the gift or the skills to do it in a way that will reach more and more kids that need. So understand your role in this process, understand how important it is, of course, in a very humble way, because also humility is very important in this process, to understand that I'm still learning and I need to keep studying and improving myself every day to be able to be a better instrument of love in this educational process. But also I need to understand that each child that is presented to me, maybe I'll be the only opportunity that kid has to receive the key that might transform his or her life for future, forever. So maybe I'm going to interact with that child only for one class or only for one cycle. And that child might move to another city and I might not ever see that child anymore. But believe that that small and that short interaction that you had with that child could be exactly the precious moment that he needed to transform himself, to open his eyes as an immortal spirit to a new world of transformation. So understand that and give importance to every class you are involved. Every moment, every activity, no matter how short and they are, no matter how small they are important. They are so, and that's why we need to put love and care and responsibility and commitment to everything we do when we discuss about education, children education. So the other aspect of this sewing process that we are talking about, I said about content, and the other important aspect is the interpersonal relationship quality. So that means that we need to be able to welcome, to clarify, to console, and to guide not only the children, but their family. We need to be able to provide that friendly environment to the whole family. Those people, when they enter the Spiritist house, they are seeking for some answers. Even if they are not consciously aware of that, if they arrive in the Spiritist house, there is a reason. As a Spiritist, we know that nothing happened by chance, right? There's a reason behind it. So we need, from the very first beginning, being able to provide that fraternal environment. Not only the kid, but the whole family needs to find in the Spiritist house a place where they can trust, where they can feel loved, where they can feel welcome. And so each child that enter, they bring a different background, a different culture, especially in countries like Canada, where I am. It's a multicultural country. We face kids from like many different backgrounds, and even in Brazil per se, as big as it is, a child from the northeast is totally different from a child from the south, because they were raised in a different kind of different culture, although they are in the same country. So, and also we know that depends on which social class you are, you have different opportunities. We are raised in different ways with different resources. So that all made us different people. And we, as educator, need to have that understanding, to respect, and not to judge. So the child needs to feel that they belong to that family, they belong to that house. And that's the only way that they will open themselves to receive the learn and to receive that knowledge that we are trying to share with them. And the same applies to the family, because we all know that it's very hard to educate just the child, if not even impossible. The Spiritist education is dedicated to the child, but it actually involves the whole family. The child will only engage in that process if they see their parents, their family, together with them. And that's also why many activities we also include activities for the parents too, like workshops or teaching sections for the parents as well, which could be in the same topic that we are teaching the kids or a different topic. But if they come together with that purpose of learning and open for that, the chances for successful is a lot higher. And the chances to get a better harvest is a lot higher too. So we need to make sure that we are able to create that environment, and we are able to have that good interaction with the children and with their families, okay? The close communication with parents and with family is very important. The Spiritist educator, they need to have that close contact. The family need to trust on us, and vice versa, right? And it's the same when we look for a school for our kids. Those who are listening, who are parents, they know how challenging it is to find a good school. We go, we visit, we talk to the teachers to try to figure out if that school will be a good fit for my kid or not. And a visit is going and visit the school is so important, because you feel, right? You want to have that good feeling to enter in the school and feels that, oh, this feels like my home. And that's how I want my child to feel as well, right? When you have that click, you find, oh, this is the school I want to put my kid. The same thing is in the Spiritist education. That does not change. So that's why it's so important to create that environment where the family arrives and they feel that they belong to. They feel that they are welcome. And that communication between the educators and the parents as the process goes is also extremely important. The same as it happens in the regular schools, right? So remember to respect each individual. Remember that each child, they are unique. Not only they are unique in this present life based on everything that they already experienced, even if they are like 5-year-old, they already lived it for 5 years. So they might have experienced good things or might have experienced traumas since their gestation, since they were in their mother's womb. We know that the incarnation process is quite complex, and they might have faced many situations during that process that will be expressed in their behaviors in this life. So remember that each child is unique, not only in this life, but also as a Spiritist, we know that that kid comes with a huge background, and that we are not aware. but we know that they exist, right? And some of those kids, or maybe many of them, can be a lot older than us in terms of experiences, previous lives, and their past. So although they don't remember, although they are in a stage, depends on how young they are in a stage that we can help them to transform, but they still carry a background that cannot be just erased, right? That background, that previous experiences affect them even unconsciously. And we need to respect that. And we need to understand, to have a sensitive look, a sensitive understanding, a sensitive listening, and a sensitive talk. We need to understand that those parents, they've been through many experiences that we are not aware at all. And it's not our job to judge. And actually our job is to provide an environment for them to find themselves, to know themselves, and then step forward by transforming themselves. So what happened in the past, and what the baggage, the luggage, the load that they carry, is not up unto us to judge or to figure out. Our job is to have that sensitive look and understanding, to be able to help them to overcome any difficulties by teaching them the principles learned in the Spiritism. Okay, so remember that, and also that help us to understand that when we plan an activity, the kids might receive that in different ways. We're going to have kids that are very cooperative, and we're going to have very challenging kids as well. And we need to have the same patience and love to deal with either one or the other. It's challenging. It's not easy. For those here that are parents, they can share with me, as I said in my introduction, I have 3 kids, and I can tell they are completely different. They are from the same father, but in other words, the same kind of genetic content, but they are totally different human beings. And I know that I knew what I needed to do with each of them to go over different situations. Some needs more patience, some needs more attention, some I need to talk in this way, the other one I need to do this or that. So the same in the Spiritist education, because if in a single family, from the same couple, we have differences. Can you imagine the Spiritist house where there are families from everywhere in the world? They definitely are very different from each other. And we need to understand that and being able to not judge, and actually being able to express the same love and understanding to all of them, because they are all seeking for the same opportunity. And we, at that moment, are instruments of God in this life to be able to provide them with the tools and the key to progress. Okay? So after talking about the content quality, the interpersonal relationship quality, the next important aspect in this sewing quality of education is the teaching quality. When I say about teaching quality, I'm talking about the methodology and the themes and all the activities that we are doing. And that's how important it is for the educational department in a Spiritist house to meet in advance and to plan and prepare for the whole year of activities. We need to sit together and plan in advance. What kind of activities, what's going to be the chronology that I'm going to use, what are the themes that I'm going to cover through this cycle. All this requires organization, okay? And remember when Emmanuel talked to Chico Xavier in that passage, when Chico asked Emmanuel what he needed to be able to succeed in that huge mission of psychographing so many books, Emmanuel was clear to tell him, well, you need three things: discipline, discipline, and discipline. And that applies not only to Chico Xavier, that applies to all of us in anything we decided to do in life. Spiritist education wouldn't be different. So we need to remember that principle that Emmanuel emphasized. We need to have discipline. We need to understand that the Spiritist education is as important as the education that our kids received in school. And we tend to put the Spiritist education as a second plan, and we transfer, in some way, we transfer that idea to the parents too. They bring their kids to the Spiritist house, and they just drop them in the education room, and they don't even care what they've been taught or what activities their kids are doing. They just drop the kids there like they drop in a playground or whatever, you know. And it's important for us as educator to show their parents since the beginning that everything is very organized. There is a sequence, there is a program that we all follow, and it's as important that I commit as an educator and you commit as a parent, and us together is going to help our kids to evolve, to learn, and to become better persons. Okay, so the same commitment that those parents has to have their kids to regular schools every day through the year, to the calendar year, they need to have the same commitment in bringing their kids to the Spiritist Center once a week. I say once a week because that's the reality of most Spiritist center. They can offer the educational activities once a week, but if in Brazil, the reality might be different. So if there are activities 2 times a week or whatever, that applies as well, of course. Okay, so therefore, as an educator, we need to commit to that discipline and plan ahead, because once we will present to the parents our program, the parents needs to understand our commitment. They need to understand that we are disciplined, we are planned ahead, we are organized. That will give them the impression, oh yes, this sounds like something serious. And that's how they should feel. Like the Spiritist education is not just a nice activity that they just drop the kids there. It's supposed to be nice and friendly, yes, but needs to have that commitment and that discipline. And sometimes I see that we miss that. And when I say we, I say that because it happens in my Spiritist center too, and everywhere that I worked since I started to work with Spiritist education, I see that everywhere. Many times the parents does not have the same commitment as they have in bringing their kids to the regular school. And part of that can be also our fault as an educator in not being able to organize ourselves, to have that discipline and to present that organization to the parents. So it's important to choose the right methodology, and that will depend on what type of public we have. Are we doing the Spiritist education to babies? Are we doing to preschool kids? Are we doing to what is our public? What are the ages? And we need to adjust and adapt our activities according to that. It's challenging, and I can say that it's even more challenging outside Brazil, because in Brazil the Spiritist movement is very well solidified. There are big centers. It's a big public, so they can provide, there are many more volunteers, the same way that there are many more children, so they can provide a better activities according to their ages. They can split those groups per years in different cycles, right? And they are able to have a class only for babies, a class only for 2 to 4 year old, then 5 to 6 year old, which would be the perfect way, because then we are able to really provide activities according to that child development and ability to receive that learning. But unfortunately, outside Brazil, we are a lot smaller in many ways. Not only less volunteers, but also less public, and our physical space is a lot less compared to what we have in Brazil. So sometimes we have people willing to do it, but we don't have a physical space to be able to bring that to Rio, right? So, and of course, if that happens, we need to adjust according to each reality, okay? So sometimes we have a group from 2-year-old to 8-year-old. And then during the activity, we kind of need to adjust as it goes in maybe doing in the class, doing different groups, like in different tables if we can. So at the same time, we can provide kind of different activities to different groups. So we adjust as the circumstances requires, right? And that is, I guess, the main challenging for the Spiritist education outside Brazil. Those who work with that, they understand what I'm trying to say. But the idea that no matter which activity we do, the idea is that you are able to bring the Spiritist principles and correlate that to the kid's daily life. The child needs to understand the message and bring that to their own life and compare that to their own life. That's the only way they're gonna fully understand. So as an educator, our idea is not only to imprint in the kids all the knowledge, but our idea is to bring them the knowledge in a way that they can think, they can ask questions, they can correlate to their daily lives. Maybe if we talk about forgiveness, they're gonna remember a situation in school where one of his friends did something that they didn't like, and they will see, oh, how important it is to forgive that friend and give them another chance to correct their mistakes, or forgiving themselves in their mistakes that they do as well. Those kind of things. We need to bring the concept in the child language in a way that they can correlate to their daily lives. It's the same as it happens with us, right? The difference is that with child, we need to adjust the language and the scenarios. And again, the content will be the same, but it will be in a way that the child can understand. So the educator's challenge is to articulate the child's context and background to the doctrinal contents in order to encourage reflection on their reality and their actions, inviting them to commit to acting better and better in their environment. So the child will, based on the activities you do, they will understand that every day they receive another opportunity and they can be better and better and better. They are still a child, they're still gonna make mistakes, but God is all love and will give them another chance to redo it and do it better. Okay, so our job is to stimulate that critical thinking by doing creative activities and dynamics that will make them think about their lives, about the situations that they face all the time, and they will be able to bring that content and that knowledge to those situations. And with kids, we do that in different ways, by drawing, painting, collage, handcrafts, music, dance, and so on. So fortunately, nowadays we have so much in the internet as well, content and ideas, and many educators group in WhatsApp and also in YouTube that share to each other different ideas, activities, dynamics. So we have a lot to learn and a lot to share, and just open yourself to that, and be in touch with other Spiritist center as well, because we can learn a lot from the experience from other places in order to think about different ways to pass the message. Okay, be creative, right? That's the main thing in being an educator, is try to be creative to overcome any situation. There is always a way to teach that content in a different way. And also encourage reading as that child evolves and learn to read, and like encourage them to read the Spiritist book. Of course, you not give the Spiritist book to a 5-year-old, or actually, of course, a 5-year-old does not read yet, but let's say a 7-year-old that just learned how to read, you not handle him the Spiritist book that it's a content that requires some better understanding to fully grasp the idea of it, right? But we do have many books and already translated to English. Many are not, but thankfully we are getting more and more books being translated. We do have books dedicated for kids that can start to cultivate those seeds. So by encouraging the kids to read, we pass to them the responsibility to seek for the information. And by reading, they will be able to process and to have that critical ability, to the critical thoughts, to understand and kind of thinking, how's this in my life? How I can apply this? And also encourage them to ask questions. That's the way they're going to learn a lot better than just by listening to me. Like, they need to feel that they are part of this process. And the reading is great no matter what. And also will free them to the knowledge. They will be important individuals in seeking for their own knowledge. They are not just sponges that are getting what we are talking about. By reading, they will see that what we did in the Spiritist education, in our activity, correlates to what they are reading. That will make a lot the knowledge a lot more concrete and more effective. And the last aspect of this sewing quality that I mentioned, we mentioned about content, we mentioned about interaction with people, like the quality of our relationship. We mentioned about the quality of teaching, and the last aspect is the organizational quality, which means like our physical space, the hours of operation, the human resources, the materials. All this is extremely important in order to succeed in this mission. Okay, so we need to make sure we create a good physical space. The kid needs to arrive in a beautiful environment. We can decorate with the theme that we are working. It's the visual appearance is important for that kid. Of course, now we are also in the pandemic time, so if we can provide a space that is well ventilated, like proper lights, all those things are important for healthy as well, right? But again, we all know that many times outside Brazil we are very limited, and we barely have physical space to our activities, right? But we adjust. We try our best, knowing that the educational activities, the Spiritist education, is extremely important in any Spiritist center. So maybe during the winter is hard, but during the summer, maybe let's enjoy and plan for activities outdoors, in parks. We can do many different dynamics. So we might not be able to have a program through the whole year, but we can kind of adjust according to our reality. As long as we have the will, we have the faith, we have the love, we'll be able to succeed in this mission. Okay, so as I said before, it's important for the educational department to have regular meetings, to do regular assessment as the year goes through, to kind of adjust accordingly, to hear the feedback from the parents, from the community, what I can change, how I can do this better. Your child has special needs or specific needs or difficulties or challenging, or they are facing this type of challenge in school or at home, how I can help. So our role is so important. We might be able to help that family a lot more than we think. So just have that in mind, that once you enter in this world of education, your harvest can be anywhere, anything you might imagine. If you have discipline and commitment, I can guarantee that you always harvest good fruits. Okay, and as I said before, also part of this organization is by dividing the groups. Of course, more you divide, better, by age, because you're able to adjust the activities according to the kid's age. But unfortunately, that is not the reality everywhere. So more important than that is just keep the will, keep the commitment, keep the discipline, keep working. Okay, we cannot just say that, oh, unfortunately, my Spiritist house cannot provide a Spiritist education because we don't have space. We can always adjust according to the reality we have. As long as we have the will to do the job and we understand our mission in this process, I'm sure the spirituality will provide with everything else. Once they feel and they see our discipline and commitment, I can guarantee you guys that the solutions will come. So I'm almost done. Basically, those are the important technical aspects that I want to share. And I had the chance through this process to learn a lot by reading from Pestalozzi, other educators. And this helped me not only in learning more about Spiritist education, but also in understanding my role as an educator everywhere I go. So Pestalozzi said, only by actually thinking, the power of thought is developed. And only by actually imagining, the powers of imagination get developed. The same applies to the powers of art. Only by using it does the hand become skilled. Only by strenuous effort does the body get stronger. And finally, the same applies to moral powers. Love only develops by the act of loving and not by talking about love. Religious faith only develops by believing, not by talking about faith, nor by the knowledge and learning by heart of things believed by others. This was said by Pestalozzi and really applies to our moment, to my talk now, that no matter where you are, if you have the will and the love, you'll be able to succeed. And not by only listening to me, but by acting, by doing it. If you ask me what I need to do to start Spiritist education in my Spiritist center, I will tell you, you just need to start. You're going to learn as the days go through. If you have perseverance and discipline, things will work out. You only learn by doing it. There are many resources, there are many people, and this kind of activity that we are doing today, it's amazing to help everyone to learn more and improving our ability to provide a better Spiritist education. But we only evolve and improve it if we start to do it, right? So hence, we need to educate with responsibility, respect to life, faith in God, care and love to one another, appreciating the opportunities we have received, working constructively, integrating with oneself, others, and with God. So those are the principles taught by Spiritism, right? If you put that in practice, we will succeed. Okay? So Emmanuel also mentioned, love and educate your child. Offer him the best of your soul, even if your child can't understand the nobility of your sacrifice and the sublimity of your abnegation. You will receive from our celestial Father the blessings of happiness and peace. So, bottom line, do your job. Like with love and care, we will be able to provide a good education. And that will not go only to the kid, as I said, come to ourselves as well. And just to finalize, I want to read this, which I freely translated from Mei Mei, the spirit of Mei Mei. It's called Child's Message. It's a beautiful poem that Mei Mei brought to us that really give us a call to the importance of our job as an educator. It says, you say I'm the future. By the way, the title is Child's Message. You say I'm the future. Do not forsake the present from me. You say I am the hope of peace. Do not lead me to war. You say I am the promise of good. Don't trust me with evil. You say I am the light in your eyes. Do not abandon me to darkness. I'm not just waiting for food. Give me light and understanding. I don't just want the joy of your affection. I beg you to educate me with love. I don't just beg you for toys. I ask you for good examples and good words. I'm not a simple ornament of your path. I'm someone who slams your door in the name of God. Teach me about work and humility, devotion and forgiveness. Educate me and guide me through what is good and fair. Correct me while there is still time, even if I suffer. Help me today so that tomorrow I don't make you cry. Thank you, everyone, and I hope I was able to share a little bit of this topic, and I hope you all can understand a little bit more about how to make it the education in your Spiritist house possible.
Thank you, Joyce, for all your words and all the encouragement for us Spiritist educators, especially who are outside of Brazil. So we understand all the challenges, but it's so nice to have this special moment with you. And if there's anything else you'd like to add, or if we can go to our final prayer.
I just want to thank again about the opportunity, and I think I already passed the time. I talk too much, but basically, I just want everyone to feel that no matter how challenging it is, the job is always possible to be done if we do with love and discipline and perseverance.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Giovanna. So we invite everyone to do our prayer, raising our thoughts to the most brilliant and caring educator we ever know, our Jesus. So let's close our eyes. Dear Jesus, we are so grateful for this special moment, for everything that our friend brought to us. So many things we must think about the practice of Spiritist educators. And the most amazing thing is that once we start this work, we think that we are educating kids and also teenagers, but we really understand that at the same time, we are educating ourselves. So you love each one of us, no matter what, so many imperfections we have, but you know what we can become one day. So we ask your guidance to embrace all of us, giving us hope and mostly love, so we can be better spirits one day. We can live your teachings and we can be better Spiritist educators. We ask the guidance of all the good spirits that work disseminating Spiritism outside Brazil and inside Brazil, like Mei, and there's so many good spirits that they can embrace our children and our youth and the families, so we can all be together during this practice. Thank you, Jesus. So be it.
So be it.